Live. How's it going? I'm Jay, your host, and today we're back again. And we've been away for about a month, and now we're back. Going to be talking about some things that we got while I was away, and should be a nice time, I think so. What happened was I had to go up to New England to take care of my aunt to attend to her for a little bit, and while I was there for like at least 3 weekends, over 2+ weeks, and I wanted to go and visit some places while I was up there. She lived somewhere in the Boston area, and then I thought, let me go and visit a bunch of places that I want to go check out, as well as visit Lie-Nielsen. I wanted to get into some hand planes, and as you can see here, I've got a selection of hand planes that I use, and I noticed that I can see the one camera is there, so let me just put this here. I'm actually recording on a separate camera for a video that I'm going to be doing later. And I just want to make sure that we get everything that we need here for today. So as you can see, I've got a selection of planes. And when it comes to hand planes, you don't need to get too crazy, right? Like we're going to be talking about Lie-Nielsen, and Lie-Nielsen is definitely one of I would say, the crazier options out there. But you don't have to go in that direction. I started buying hand planes about a year ago or so, when I started getting a little bit interested in trying to get a hand plane. The hand plane that I actually use the most is none of those, actually. The hand plane that I use the most is this. I think this is what they call a number 92. This is a low angle block plane by Stanley. I don't even know how old it is, right? Here's the thing, if you talk to people that are into hand tools, or if you read the forums, you're going to see all kinds of people talking about different Stanleys, the different numbers, the different types of those numbers, and it gets a little bit bewildering. Like you're just kind of like, what am I going to do? But for me personally, I'm not really interested in necessarily collecting hand planes. I'm more interested in getting some hand planes and having them being working hand planes that I can actually use and work and make furniture pieces with, or any kind of project. And if you look at some of these guys on YouTube, I think James Hamilton, Stumping Nubs, is a great example. Like you look at his studio set, and man, he's got like all kinds of planes, and I'm like, I don't really want to get to that level. Like I'm making a conscious effort not to fall into that rabbit hole. Not because I'm against it, just because, I don't need another thing to, I don't need another hobby to rob me of my money. And if you think about it, when you meet people or see people, advertising planes on Facebook Marketplace or something like that, they tend to have a lot, and it's like, wow, man, like what do you do with all that stuff? And I mean, I'm not one to say that I don't have a lot of stuff with certain things, and I do, but it's one of those things where you just kind of got to be a little bit conscious, I think. Andrew's with us. What's going on? They are way too expensive for what you get. Are we talking about the Lie-Nielsen? I don't know. We're going to look more into that. But here we are. We've got these Stanleys. And like I said, I think this is what they call the number 92. And I use this all the time. And I did lap the sole of this one recently. I just learned how to lap not too long ago. So I lapped that out. So that works well. And I sharpened up the blade. Works great. I use it for most everything that I'm doing. Just, just cleaning up edges or whatever I'm doing. But over the past year, I've been buying planes, a lot of them on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm looking for stuff that works. I don't really care if it's like super valuable or anything like that. That to me doesn't make any matter. And we've got a couple here. This one is actually a Sears plane, and it's a number 4. So they come in different. This one's made in England. It says made in England on it. Does that mean that it's better than others? I don't know. It's got a plastic or Bakelite type of handle and tote is the back, and then whatever, I forgot the name of this one. I'm not really very good at this. And then this one's a Stanley in blue, the Japanning. They call it Japanning. I don't know why. I think it's supposed to be like Japan style lacquering. Basically, you're just painting it. But this one has blue, and I don't know if it's got like this one has all plastic, like handles, and as well as the blade adjuster is also plastic. This one is plastic, but has brass type of blade adjuster. I don't know what that means, but these are number 4s, and so I use this blue one quite a bit. I lapped this one and sharpened the blade recently, so I've started using this more. I'm buying these used, and they're in different levels of condition. Some they had a little bit of surface rust and needed to be cleaned up. A lot of were dusty and just were like covered in stuff because that the people that had them were just letting them sit for like years on end, never using them. And that's what I suggest you do is start by buying these. This is the Stanley Bailey number 5, and this actually I got at an auction. I got this at the auction in Damascus, Maryland. Every March they have this tool auction, and this one is the number 5. Actually, it was a really nice example of a number 5. It was at auction, and I was able to get it for $25. So very, very reasonably priced tool. And I did not lap this because I think it's already, whoever had it before for the auction had already done the lapping, and it's in nice condition. There's a little bit of surface rust developing here that I have to address because this has just kind of been sitting for a while. This is another number 5 that I picked up along the way. I forgot where I got it. As you can see, it needs some work. This one I haven't done any work on. I tried using it a little bit, but the cap iron, the screw that holds the cap iron, even though it's got this nice patina on it, so it looks like it's kind of period, it doesn't really fit correctly. I got to bring it to a friend of mine that's a lot more knowledgeable about these kind of things and see what he says about it. Maybe I need a new cap iron screw. Then you've got the number 6, which is kind of moving towards a joiner plane. A lot of people don't like the number 6. They say that it's just kind of this weird size. I have not really used it much. The toad is broken. As you can see, it doesn't have that horn that these have on the back. It's missing that right here. It's kind of broken off. I don't know. I mean, that broke off before I bought it. But it was cheap. I think it was like maybe 20 bucks. You can get this. This is a Stanley Bailey. You can see the Bailey here. This one needs to be cleaned up and prepared. This number 7 is a joiner plane, so it's really long. It's about 2 feet long almost, maybe 22 inches. And this one, when I got it, was in fairly good condition. I just kind of cleaned it up, maybe, gave it a bath and all that. And I haven't used it because it's just very long. And really, I think a lot of people will tell you if you start getting into the 7s and 8s, unless you have really long boards, it's kind of like a little bit overkill. I think the rule is that you have to, the ideal length for any of these planes is that you want to be planing something that is 3 times the length. So if this plane is, how long is this plane? Let's grab a tape here and see. So this plane is 22 inches. So you'd want to have something that's about 5 feet long, is going to give you the right amount of surface to really kind of like get the joining done with this. And that's a pretty nice one. Omniel's with us. What's going on, Omniel? I haven't seen you in a while. How you been? Good to see you. And so those are the basic like iron planes, right? And then now recently I was watching a video from Mortise and Tenon magazines, and the guys were talking about scrub planes, and that's one thing I was thinking about using this number 4. And then how you do the scrub planes, you take the iron and you camber it, you give it a curve so that you can do a lot of rough removal of stock from your pieces. And I was like, oh, that seems like a good idea. So I haven't got to the point of actually modifying this one. I do have another one that I have somewhere up there that is in worse condition, probably the worst one of them all, but it's missing its cap iron. I bought it without the cap. I bought like I bought these 3, and I think the number 5, and this number 5, as one group of planes for like $40, and they were all kind of beat up and dirty. And so, yeah, this is how you get cheaper. This is how you get a collection of planes for pretty low money, because you can spend a lot of money. I went to this tool auction, the Brown tool auction, this past weekend in York, Pennsylvania, and they do have a dealer's show, but they have their auction. And even at the dealer show, depending on the plane that you're buying, it could be quite a lot of money. But you can still find good deals. Like this is a deal that I got at the Brown tool auction. I got this from Rick Long, who is a dealer from Richmond, Virginia. And like I said, I was watching this Mortise and Tenon magazine video here on YouTube, and the guys were talking about scrub planes. So scrub planes like this, or these type of horned German type of planes that have the camber, right? You can kind of see the camber here, right? And the camber allows you to do a lot of rough removal. Now, this is pretty much the same plane that they were showing in the video, and I was kind of like, maybe I need to get one. And so when I went to the show and I saw Rick there, he was like, I saw this, and I was like, oh man, this must be meant to be, because here it is. Here's the plane that I was thinking that I should try to get, and here it is. And I said to Rick, I said, hey man, what's the deal with it? He's like, it's from the 1800s, late 1800s, and it's made in Austria. And I was like, well, how much? And I'm thinking, gosh, well, what's he gonna say? Like $100, $150, or whatever. I'm like, well, I guess I'm gonna have to say no to that and have another go at it some other day. And he's like, yeah, how about $30? And I was like, $30? All right. So, you can find nice planes for cheap. Now, I haven't done anything with this one. Now, this one is a wood plane with the wedge, and so it's different than these that have cap irons. Like the cap irons, you can just remove, and you can pull the blades out of them, right? But these, you need to like kind of use the tapping thing, and so you can use a little hammer. And I've got a couple hammers here that we can use. Whoops. And you don't have to have specialized hammer. There are specialized hammer for this. Like this is a fast cap hammer, like a Japanese style hammer, very lightweight, maybe 150 grams. And if you need to adjust the depth or adjust the angle of the blade, you just kind of give it a little bit of tap. You just give it a little tap on the iron to push it down, and then maybe a tap on the wedge to lock it in place. And then if you need to move it over, you can do that now. You don't have to use metal. If you don't want to use metal on metal, you can also use any kind of mallet that you have. This is a white oak and walnut mallet that I made a while back, a Japanese style mallet that I got. That I actually got the idea for this because I saw in a video by this Japanese woodworker. He does a lot of timber framing, and he once in a while will do videos visiting tool shops in Japan, and he kind of glanced by this, and I saw it on the wall, and I was like, I like that style of like thin, narrow, rectangular mallet. So I just kind of made it. And so this kind of mallet, you can just kind of hold on to it, and you can adjust. You can use that to adjust or whatever you want to do. And then if you want to, if it's too far, right, you need to loosen or retract the blade. You kind of hold it here, and that kind of, what it does is as you're hitting here on this raised part of it, it actually forces the body of the plane down and kind of leaves, it's basically like if this is in stationary position and you're pushing this down, and it kind of stays in its place. So it's very, it moves very little bit, but that allows you to take it out and then adjust it again or sharpen it. And as you can see, you can make it super, super sharp of an angle. We'll just take that out so don't have to worry about it. And then the last plane that I got at the show, I only got 2 planes at the show, was this. I saw this. This is what's called a compass plane. This is a number 113 by the Stanley Corporation. This is pretty old, but you can see that it's in very nice condition. But you can see that there was some pitting. Under the black, there's some pitting that had happened. So somewhere along the way, somebody had taken this, found it. It had rusted a bit, and they cleaned it up and made it really nice. Like, it's in very good condition. Now, I saw other examples from dealers at the show that were selling, $150 for this, and they were in worse condition. I was like, gosh, that's crazy. But this one was being sold by the auction itself. So the auction, the Brown auction, has their auction, and then I guess there's a certain amount of tools that maybe don't make it to the final auction, and they sell them. And this was being sold for $50. So I was like, oh, $50, that's a deal, right? That's a deal. I'm just gonna grab it. And what the idea behind this is that you take this knob and you turn it, and you can see the sole is spring steel, so it actually will curve. So this is meant to plane on curves to match the curve and clean up the curve. So it's actually quite cool. I haven't used it. I just got it, so I haven't used it yet, and I'm looking forward to playing around with it at some point. Let's put these out of the way here, because we're going to need them to be out of the way for us. And then another type of plane that's totally different than these Western planes is this Japanese plane. Now, my brother went to Japan back in July, and I was like, hey man, can you stop by this place? It's a place in Tokyo called Inoue Hamono, and Inoue is the family name. Hamono is basically the word for like a tool shop. So Inoue Hamono is a shop that works with different blacksmiths in Japan. They're very specific. They're very specific in the blacksmiths they work with, and the blacksmith makes the tooling for the shop, and so the shop sells these tools as their own, as Inoue, and it's beautiful quality, and so they package it really nice. I got a chisel and a hand plane, a smoothing plane. I asked them for a smoothing plane. And as you can see here, this is the smoothing plane. 15,000 yen, so I think that's like $280 or something like that, just over 200 bucks. I gave my brother the money and I was like, just go talk to the guys there and see what they say. It's 42 millimeters wide. And this is a smoothing plane. The difference between the Western planes, like the Western planes, we are pushing to cut. The Japanese style planes are pulling to do the cutting. So in a lot of times with the Japanese tools, woodworking tools, you're pulling on them, like the saws you pull, the planes you pull, and that tends to actually be better for your body mechanics by pulling rather than having to push. But I wanted to explore the Japanese style planes more, so I asked my brother to get me one. These are made with white oak. They're very nice quality. Like this quality is super, super nice. Like you can buy smoothing planes, Japanese style smoothing planes from like Woodcraft or something like that for like 50 bucks, right? I saw one brand, of Kikuni, I think it's called, that was on Facebook Marketplace just today that was being sold for $15, but those are not as nice quality. And you know what, here's the thing, as I've been, getting into the woodworking thing more and more and thinking more about what do I want to use. Like these Stanleys are all nice. They can be nice quality tools. They're all like nice, iron, carbon steel, and they were built to last. And but the thing is, they were built as mass market items, right? Like, Stanley, like as nice as the tool this is, or this one, they made millions of these, millions upon millions of these over the last 100+ years, 200 years. So there's a lot of them out there, which is why they're relatively cheap. I mean, there's certain ones like their #1 planer that's super, super small, that was barely made. So those fetch like $1,000 from Stanley. But these ones, they're everywhere. So that's why at the auction, I got this for $25, because by the time that I got to the auction, all the collectors, they probably all have like multiple #5. So do they need to buy another #5? So, that's one thing about these. So you can get a decent quality plane for relatively cheap, especially if you just want it to be a working plane. And that's one thing that I think people should consider. Amiel says, how about your recent Black Friday video? It's killing it. I know, man. I'm really surprised at how well that's done. And I don't know what it is. I think it's like, maybe it's the blue, and maybe people like Lowe's more than Home Depot, because the Home Depot one didn't perform as well. And then I haven't looked at I just released another gift guide Lowe's, because I saw they had a gift center at Lowe's, and I was like, oh, maybe that'll make a fun video. And I haven't seen how that's done today. And I think that just came out today or something. So yeah, and then of course, speaking of like these different videos that are doing their performance, the one about the Cat's Moses sharpening jig has done very nicely. I'm like, wow, I don't get that many views on the coffee channel. But we're keeping going. So with all of these planes, these are all very nice planes. I mean, I don't necessarily feel a need to replace, like, let's say this block plane, even though you might want to have adjustable mouth, or let's say the #5s or the #4s, any of the planes that I have, I don't necessarily need to buy another plane of those, another version of that, right? So I was thinking about, like, Lie-Nielsen is a great tool company. Let me go and, get a plane from them. I just need to do a little bit of housekeeping while we're talking. And there's many companies that make planes today. So if you want to buy a new plane, there's so many ways to get a new plane. Like Wood River makes planes, Stanley still makes planes, right? And there's other companies like Melbourne Tool. There's Blue Spruce. I don't think Blue Spruce only makes a router plane. Veritas, Lee Valley Tools. I mean, Veritas is another very well-regarded tool, hand plane manufacturer. So there's a lot of companies out there. Uh-oh. That are, oh, there it is. I'm looking for a part here. And so there's there's quite a few companies that you can buy hand planes that are brand new today. And, you know, a lot of them, you know, you'll see if you look at, if you run a search on YouTube for hand planes, people will be talking about what's the best budget hand plane? What's a mid-price hand plane? And, you know, all these things to help you, you know, save some money on a plane. And, you know, what's the best plane for the money? And, you know, to be honest with you, I got to the point where I'm like, I have these hand planes. I got nice hand planes, good enough hand planes. If I'm gonna buy another hand plane, I want to get something that's awesome. Like I want to go like and get awesome. I don't want to mess around with like, you know, middle of the road, budget friendly, you know, acceptable quality planes. I want to go for the gusto and be just like, this is the plane. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy high quality, spend some money, and a plane till I'm dead, right? That's kind of the idea. It's like, I want a plane to last until I drop dead from whatever, and so that my estate sale will be awesome, right? You'll be able to come to my estate sale and be like, holy moly, this dude. And so I think that's where Lie-Nielsen falls in, right? Like you can buy a lot of other planes that are in different price points, but then, and I thought about that and I was thinking, you know what, there's other, this plane could be like $100 or maybe $200, $225. The Lie-Nielsen at $295, it's only a little bit more. Yeah, it could be a stretch more, but it's like just a little bit more. Why not just go and get that? Why muck around with everything else? Just go for the gusto and get what's recognized as, you know, essentially the best plane, the best made hand plane on the market. They do tours pretty much every weekday at 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. And when they do their tours, they do it during the breaks that the staff has. So I guess that's their two breaks. There's a lunch break at 11 and then a mid-afternoon break at 2. They last about 15 minutes, so the tour goes pretty fast. There's not a lot to see. It's mostly just machinery, and it's kind of, and you go there and you know, you just kind of go through it, and they show you everything that they do to make the tools. A lot of the heavy duty stuff, like the casting of the steel, is done by a mill off-site. A different company does it for them, and then they bring the castings, and then they clean it all up, machine it, and do all the tolerances on it at the Lie-Nielsen factory. And so I went there, and my intention was to get the low-angle jack plane, what they call the number 62. I had been thinking that I wanted the low-angle number 4. I think that's what they call the number 64, because I was at this event, Fine Woodworking New England, back in May, and I was talking with Bob. I was talking with the guys from Lie-Nielsen, and Bob Van Dyke was there, and Bob was saying, you know, I was asking Bob, so what do you think? He's like, you know, he said, my favorite is the low-angle number 4, and I put a 45-degree bevel on the blade, and that's my favorite. And I was like, well, if Bob Van Dyke says this is his favorite, and I'm just, you know, an idiot that doesn't really know anything about it, if I might as well just follow Bob Van Dyke. But then fast forward to September, Lie-Nielsen came down to the Hearn Hardwoods open house, and Deneb Puchalski was there, and he was giving a demonstration with his coworker, and as well as a whole lesson on like sharpening, which was excellent. And I was talking to him about these low angle planes, and I was like, you know what? I was like, you know, I'm thinking about getting the low angle number 4, because Bob was telling me this. He's like, you know, I think you should probably think about the low angle jack, the number 62. And I was like, all right, maybe that's the way to go. And so I wasn't sure which one I was going to go. Like the low angle jack is $295. The low angle number 4 is $325. And you might be like, hey, why is the number 4, which is basically this long, and then the low angle jack is bigger, right? It's bigger. It's a bigger plane. Why is this more expensive? And this is something I even asked Ken at Lie-Nielsen, or maybe I didn't have. I said, why is there a price difference? This plane is more, like it's bigger. So why is this more? And because of the way the adjuster, there's more there's a different type of adjuster on the number 4, which requires more components and more work and blah, 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 blah. And that's why it's $325 versus $295. Now, low angle jacks, according to the internet, let's say like if we look at Wood River, or let's start Stanley. Stanley, you can get a number 62 for right around $160 at home. If you order from Home Depot, Stanley low angle jack number 62, about $160 to $190. If you get the Wood River low angle jack, what is River selling? So here, Wood River number 62 low angle jack plane, $289. So $295 from Lie-Nielsen, made in America, cast iron, everything's like, all like super machined, versus the Wood River, which is made, I don't know where it's made, but it's definitely made offshore. $289. I mean, you're talking a $6 difference. Why am I going to buy the one from Wood River? Melbourne Tool Company also makes a plane, a low angle jack number 62, and they sell theirs $215. And that's where I was, this is one of the examples I was saying, like, you can get the Melbourne, and people have, nice reviews about the Melbourne. It's a nice, compromise tool, maybe not compromise, not the right word, but, it's one of those tools where it's like, it's budget friendly. $215 for $80 more, you can get the Lie-Nielsen. So that's where I was talking about. It's like, oh man, do I really? Why buy that? Because if I want the Lie-Nielsen, at some point in time, I'll buy the Lie-Nielsen. And I'll want to buy it. So why not just buy it now and get it over with, right? Get it over with, and be done with it. Be done with it, and not have to worry about it. So now we're going to look at the Veritas. The Veritas, which people will argue that the Veritas and the Lie-Nielsen are on equal levels, right, as far as quality and performance. Veritas is $299 for their low-angle jack from Lee Valley Tools. That's for the 01 blade. If you want the PMV11 version, that's $319. I don't really know the difference between all of these metals. I know that the 01s are supposed to be harder blades, I think, which holds the blade, the sharpness longer. I mean, I don't get too deep into it. Like when I was talking about the Japanese planes, there's all this blue steel, white steel. I was like, I don't care. Just talk to the master and tell him what kind of work I'm doing, and let him make the recommendation, and I'll just go with that. And that's what I did with the Inoue smoothing plane. And that's why when Deneb was like, you probably should get the number 4, the 62, I was like, all right, I'm going to go with what the masters who know the craft, who know the tools, what they say to get, because they're going to be the best guide. They're going to be the best guide. Because, companies that are quality are going to lead you in a direction that will encourage you to buy more, right? They want you to, a company like Lie-Nielsen, Veritas, and all them, they don't want you just to buy this. They want you to buy all of their tools. So if the more they make that experience positive, the more you're probably likely to buy more of their tools. That's kind of how we do things in the coffee business. We want that to happen. So let's get into this. Now, if you do buy a Lie-Nielsen, they say to keep the box. I don't mean Lie-Nielsen says. I mean, people seem to think that, the box is worth a lot of, it's super valuable to like the Lie-Nielsen collectors. And as you can see, it's a cardboard box. Lie-Nielsen on the front, Lie-Nielsen on the side, and it says here, number 62, low-angle jack plane, LN62. And let's get into it and see what's in here. Now, if you order it online, they will ship it to you pretty much like this, from what I've been told. I think they just kind of tape it, put the UPS sticker on it, and then send it out, because they package it in a way that's ready to ship. So let's look in here. Oh, look at this little envelope. This is actually this is my receipt. We'll put that aside, but you can see here, there is the tool. And I don't even know how to take it. I have not taken this out yet. This is my first time taking this out. Little desiccant pack. Nice. We've got a little low-angle jack plane manual from Lie-Nielsen Toolworks. Talks a lot about it. Patterned after the Stanley number 2, the low-angle jack is one of our most versatile and outstanding planes. All right, good. We'll get into that in a minute. So here it is. Like I said, it's all packaged for shipment. They just pack it up because, you know, I'm buying it from the factory, but, you know, they're packaging it for shipping. We'll put all this back in the box so that I remember how to put it back together. And then it's wrapped in this nice paper. Oh, there's some tape. This is exciting. I'm excited. Like, I've been holding off on opening this up for this purpose, just for you guys. All right, so we've got some other paper here. Armor wrap, eradicators of rust. So I guess this wrapping paper, this armor wrap, is designed to, you know, help prevent the formation of rust. Because, you know, they probably make these, they're making these in batches, and it's going to sit there for who knows how long, and then shipping it for who knows how long. And then, like, when it arrives to you, to wherever you are, like here, who knows how long it's going to take before I open it up, which has taken almost 2 weeks. Okay, so here it is. Oh, look at that. That is just so very nice. This is the low angle jack, and I don't have any low angle jacks. This is the only one that I have, and amazing. And how they package it, is that loose? No, that's not loose. So as you can see here, it's a cast steel. Feels like, no. Cast steel, and then they machine it down. Now, one of the things about these Lie-Nielsen tools is that they machine these so that they are ready to use. You're supposed to be able to take this out and use it right away. Now, they do say that for the blade, you might want to put a secondary bevel, a micro bevel on it. The bevels are like 25 degrees. So if you want to put a 30-degree micro bevel, you can still do that. But they say that it's ready to go straight out. And so cast iron, and then the Japanning, the black paint. The blades, I think, are just carbon steel. The handles and tote are cherry. And this one has the adjustable mouth, so you kind of take the front here. Oh, I should probably, how am I? Oh, that's tight. That's tight. There you go. Tight. Loosen it up, and then you can use this lever to adjust the angle, the depth of the mouth. Right? You can kind of see it moving. I'm just going to leave it kind of in its detent. And then brass screws holding it all in place. Brass adjuster. There's a brass cap iron. Now, one of the things about these planes that they say when they're shipping them, this one, since this is a twist cap lever, it's obviously not the same. But they say that when they're shipping the planes, and this compass plane, when I first unpacked it, was like that. The cap lever screws, they tighten them really tight so that they don't become dislodged during shipping. So if you're getting a regular one, you want to, like, you know, get your adjusting screwdriver and just, you know, unsnug it so that you can do it. But this one, since it's got this screw cap, you can just take it off, and that's not the problem. Then we've got our plane blade. Just beautiful. It's beefy. Like, this is super beefy. Let's take a look at this number 5, this one that I got from an auction. Right, if we compare the blade, like you can see, this is the blade here. Oops, wrong blade. So this is the blade, right? This is the blade for the regular number 5, and as you can see they are essentially the same size. But the blades themselves, wow, there's just it is significantly thicker and just weighty. So there's just a lot more weight, just a lot more oomph to this Lie-Nielsen, and that's part of the reason why, you know, I like the Lie-Nielsens. I decided to go with it because they're just weightier. Like, this is, you can feel it, versus this one, it's lighter. You can see the castings are slightly thicker on the Lie-Nielsen throughout the different on the ribs, right? And then you can see here on the bottom for the where the blade goes down, it's machined. So they machine it down. They do they're very meticulous about their machining and how they do everything. So that's why we wanted to go with that. And then we're gonna. And then another thing that I did order that Deneb was like, you know, you need to. He was showing. While he was doing his demo, he was showing that you can use this to do your planing. But if you need heavy stock removal, then he encouraged me to order what's called the toothed blade. And the tooth blade is this. I think I need a better way to keep this. And by toothed, I mean it has teeth on it, right? So, oh, it's covered with that. So, but you can see here that it's ribbed, it's ridged. So there's teeth on this particular blade. Same blade, same size blade, just toothed. It's a little bit magnetic. Huh. So that when if you want to do rough removal, like with rough sawn lumber, this is going to be the right choice for you. So we'll put this back. We're not going to worry too much about that today. And then to put it back together, you just put this back in, right? Like there is a notch here in the bottom that fits into the adjuster right here. Cap iron goes in, and then we just twist it down. And then let's give it a try and see what we can see. I've got a little piece of white oak here. Oops. I mean, the nice thing about the Lie-Nielsen is that it's very heavy comparatively to the other planes. So you get a lot of like glide as well as a lot of momentum as you're working. Now it does mean that it's because it's heavier, it's going to be a little bit more fatiguing as you use it. Just kind of got to get it out there enough. Just trying to make sure that it's straight enough. Oh, come on. We have to open the mouth just a little bit more. There we go. I think we're getting closer now. Okay. There we go. Whoa. I need to turn on the brakes. There we go. Better. I think that'll be. Man, that's lovely. This shaving a little bit on the thick side. Yeah, that's pretty thick, so we're gonna back it up a little bit. Now this is still kind of rough sawn, so we're gonna have to get through all the undulations. Oh, I gotta say, you know, I've not really been a hand tool woodworker. I've been struggling with all those other planes, trying to get them tuned in and ready to go. Wow, this is quite pleasurable. Okay, that's a little bit thick. Let's go a little bit shallower. All right, wow, that's pretty nice. All right, let's try this side. As you can see, this is fully weathered and we're just starting to get a little bit here. Turn it around. Okay, now it's starting to get a little bit thick because as we're catching on here, you can see the saw marks. There's lower here, upper here, so now we need to come back a little bit, I think. What I like about all these is that I can use that for a fire starter. That's really why I'm doing hand planing, because I want fire starters, so I don't have to buy any. Getting there, look at that. The grain's started to come out now. Just trying to get through this. Now this is where you kind of want to have a scrub plane, or maybe go a little bit deeper, so you can really just kind of get through all of that material. And what we can also do is go across it. Oh, that battery's dead again. Gosh. Can you believe that? All of this for YouTube life. It's a little bit crazy. So if you're watching, let me know if you use hand planes. What do you use? How do you like them? Any thoughts? I mean, I'm still relatively new to the hand planing world, so I'm always open to your suggestions and your thoughts about the hand planing thing. So I'll go back across it. Oops. Getting thicker. Okay, that's a little bit thick. Now we're finally getting it, removing most of these like lower part. So now it's just about smoothing it out a little bit more. That's better. Just a little bit more. Ooh. All right. That's better. Could be better on this side. Let's do a little bit more. All right, so that's kind of the basics of this. So this definitely is white oak. I wasn't sure what it was when we pulled it out of the bin, but yeah, all right. So that's kind of it. That we can do. I don't have a vise set up. Otherwise, I'd show you how. Otherwise, I'd do like the edge. That's not going to be a smart way to go. So yeah, I mean, it's, you know, when it comes to planes, right now my first reaction to this number 62, I'm very pleased. Like the quality, it feels really good. It's hefty. The quality is there. Like, I mean, it feels beautiful to plane. Like, and those of you who have a Lie-Nielsen probably already know this, I'm sure. But gosh, it is nice. Now I feel like a real woodworker. Like you see these guys on YouTube, the masters, and they're all like, you know, doing this planing thing, and they're just kind of like flicking it out. It's like, oh man, I don't get shavings like that. Now I do. Oh yeah, baby, this is. Look at that. Wow. All right, so the number 62 by Lie-Nielsen, $295. I did get the tooth blade, which adds another $100 to it. So a total of $395, $400 basically. Not an insignificant amount of money. But you know, my first impression using this now, I mean, it's worth it. Like, I mean, this is meant to be a tool that I'm gonna have for the rest of my existence on this planet. So, you know, the cost is not too bad if you think of it that way. Right? Because I don't necessarily want to be in a position where I need to buy more tools all the time to replace the ones that are kind of worn out or just not performing to the way that I would like it to perform. I think this is engineered and designed in a way that will perform well. And I mean, I would say that, you know, tools like this are tools that are currently better than my personal skill. So I have to work to catch up to it and, you know, do well. But the nice thing about tools, quality tools, is that it makes the journey easier. Like I remember when I first got into playing music with an ukulele, you know, my mentor had a Kamaka ukulele, which is, you know, one of the best ukulele makers out there. But, you know, the ukuleles are expensive. They're expensive. And I remember when I was going to look at them, I was like, wow, that's a lot of money. And I was like, man, can I really afford that? Should I afford that? Like it's fairly expensive. And I decided to go for it and just bite the bullet and go for it. And I still use that instrument today. And you know, I was talking with Rick Hearn from Hearn Hardwoods just the other day. We were out there on Monday, and you know, we were talking about the different things that they use at their facility. They always have beautiful tools, like just top quality tools. Festool, Felder, all of those kind of things. And, and Rick made a comment, and I don't remember exactly what he said, but paraphrasing what he said, what he had to say was something that I've kind of like always kind of intuitively known, that basically it's kind of like if you buy something, if you compromise on what you want, it always bites you. And even if you buy, if you buy something of good quality, that you have to, even if you have to stretch for it, it always pays off. Like it never, like anytime that I've done, bought high quality items or products, I've never regretted it, right? I've never had to replace it, or if it broke down or got stolen or something like that, then you have to replace it. But the quality is there, and you never have to think twice about it. You spent a lot of money on it, but you don't have to think twice. And I think the Lie-Nielsen tools falls into that category of, it cost a bit, super, super high quality, beautifully done. And the nice thing about this, it's working straight out of the box. We didn't have to do any resharpening. We didn't have to dress it in any way. Didn't even put a micro bevel on it. And it's producing just really lovely results just straight out of the box. And this is something that if you watch a lot of YouTubers, Wood by Wright or Rex Kruger and the rest of them, they always talk about getting your planes and having to tune them up. This is one of those that you don't have to. Ken, when I was at the tour, he was like, you don't really have to do anything because we hone it down to 15 thousandths of an inch. So everything's super flat. So that's part of the reason why you pay a lot more money for a Lie-Nielsen tool than others, because there's so much more involved with it, which is really a nice thing to see. Like there's a value there. There's a value. So, all right. Well, that's pretty much it for this week here on the Woodshop Live. Thanks for tuning in. Glad you're here. If you're watching on the replay, let me know your thoughts on like your hand planes. Like, do you agree or do you disagree? Like, do you find that other ones are better? And I'm always interested to hear what you think and what you might know, because I don't know it all. And we're just the Woodshop Live is really more a show that's here to facilitate a sharing of ideas and conversation. All right, so back again next week probably with another episode of the Woodshop Live. So hope you have a great one, and see you next time. Don't forget, it's Friday night, time to go to the club. Oops.